All right, so I have my traced circle here. I did that in pencil. And now I'm going to get out supplies. I'm going to use a pen for this part. You guys can honestly use whatever. You can use crayons. You can use Sharpies if you have them and you're allowed to use them. Whatever works for you as long as it draws. Just be careful if it's pencil because that may cause problems later when we actually have to go back in and erase this circle later on. So just be aware, be careful. You may have to be really, really careful when erasing that you don't erase parts that you're not supposed to. So I'm going to kind of turn my paper to the side because that's easier for me to draw. So how this is going to work is you are going to draw a straight line, as straight as you can, across the paper till it hits that circle. Then when it crosses over the circle, it's going to curve till it touches the other side. And then it is going to straighten back out and go across the edge of the paper that way. So I can kind of see it's going straight, bumps up, straight again. If you need to use a ruler or a straight edge, you could even use like the edge of a book to help you make those straight lines if you need to. That is totally okay. But remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be exact. We just want it to be close. So it is okay if you just draw it kind of freehand and not worry about that too much. So I'm going to keep going across, making the curve in the circle, and then that way. So kind of as I'm getting more towards the bottom of the circle, my curves are actually getting a little bit steeper as I'm going down this, and that's going to help it look a little more and more like a bubble. So you want these lines to be staying about the same space apart as your lines when they're straight. So my lines are kind of looking more almost like a frowny as I'm coming down. And then once I've kind of gone all the way across there, my lines at that point are just going to go straight along kind of the top and bottom depending on where you placed your circle. But you really want them to cover the whole paper because that's going to help with that optical illusion. So once I have that and I have kind of my curve here and that, I am going to go through and I'm actually going to erase the pencil line of the circle. Be really careful, especially if you use something like a pen or a marker, that it's dry, and when you go to erase, you don't end up smudging everything all around it. So I'm going to go in and I am going to erase the pencil. Like I said, just be really careful before you kind of erase over the top if what you're erasing doesn't, get messed up with it, to make sure you don't end up smearing your marker lines, or even crayon can get kind of smudged sometime. So now I kind of have this and it makes it look a little more like optional last step if you have a little extra time or you just want to try it. And you can actually really lightly with your pencil, we can add a little shading. So I'm using the side of my pencil right here. I'll zoom in a little closer so you can see I'm using the side of my pencil right here. And I'm kind of going around the edge of the circle. I'm going to go in with my finger and just kind of smudge. And that's going to give it almost a shadow right around that circle. That's just going to help make it look more three-dimensional. And then when you're done, you have this kind of three-dimensional bump circle on a flat page. But we know it's actually flat. It doesn't curve up.